Everybody can use a hand out on the water sometimes, just like some of the people we'll see in this week's episode of Boating News of the Week.
Broncos Guru, this one's for you, coming at you from sunny Seattle, Washington. Looks like they're gonna tie it off the shore and refloat. Stay safe out there.
Of course, our first story to make the boating news this week is going to take us down to South Florida, where we're still receiving incredible images of events that occurred during Hurricane Ian. And one of the things that's really starting to come out is some of the heroic rescues that happened during the actual storm itself. Kind of like the Kevin Ott story, where Kevin Ott received a call from his children's grandmother claiming water was rising in her house and she needed help. Kevin quickly jumped into action, got his pontoon boat, and went out with the intent of rescuing his children's grandmother. And while on the way to do so, actually ran across many other people who were in harm's way. Kevin stopped and actually filled his pontoon boat up with a bunch of strangers as well, and was able to pull these guys safely out of the storm. Lots of stories like this coming out of people just helping people. It's absolutely incredible. And of course, we're still seeing plenty of harrowing stories of our first responders who went out, risked their lives, and braved the elements to rescue people who found themselves in harm's way during the hurricane as well. Like these images here from the Nassau County Sheriff's Office, where they had to go out during the middle of the storm and rescue two people who found themselves in trouble on a sailboat during Ian. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to Panama, where this was the scene a little over a week ago when the Panama-based company Ocean Builders launched its very first eco-friendly home called the Cpod. But things went wrong quickly. Shortly after the launch of this $1.5 million luxury model home, it began to list and started to sink with people still on board. Fortunately, they were able to get everybody off the vessel without any injury. This really was actually a large press gathering for the unveiling of this event, as they were trying to promote an ecological community. It even included attendees such as the Panamanian president. Shortly after the event, the builders did launch an investigation and determined that the toppling was caused by a bilge pump malfunction that threw off the balance of the steel spar in the prototype, which caused it to flood. Our next story is one that's starting to make national headlines, where a pair of tournament fishermen up in Ohio found themselves in a little bit of trouble.
We got weights and fish! There we go!
The pair of fishermen were fishing in the Lake Erie Walleye Trail fishing tournament when all of a sudden at weigh-in, they found themselves only needing 16 pounds to secure the Team of the Year award for the fishing tournament. The director of the fishing tournament, eyeballing their 5 fish, estimated that they had it locked in, as he figured those fish would weigh about 20 pounds. But when the fish hit the scale at almost 34 pounds, suspicions rose quickly. Tournament officials quickly inspected the fish and found over 8 pounds of weight had been stuffed inside the fish. Apparently, this pair of fishermen won over $300,000 last year. I have to imagine some of that money's coming back. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to Europe in the Danube River, where these images came in just a little bit over a week ago in Serbia, where a pair of fishermen were out fishing along a pier when all of a sudden they noticed a barge and a tugboat was heading directly toward the shore. Here we can hear them trying to alert the crew of the tugboat that they're heading in the wrong direction. But even with the effort of the fishermen to try and alert the crew that they need to make a turn, the tug does not divert from its path. It just continues directly on toward the shore until, unfortunately, there's no more water left for them to continue on. As seen here, the fishermen quickly run from the pier they were fishing on just in case the vessel continues forward and winds up colliding with that pier as well. But there really isn't a whole lot of information about this event. Currently, the cause is unknown. It's not sure if this was human error or mechanical failure. And one of the really strange things is you don't really see any crew running around on board the vessel either. Typically in a situation like this, you might see people scrambling to try and do something, but here it's just kind of calm and kind of eerie. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Ewan Rankin, Larry Marr, Kevin Ott, and Stefan did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here. If not, we're coming to steal your drain plug.